Hey guys, I am back for another Come With Me. Oh my god, I have had so many issues. Sorry, it's really glary. I've had so many issues so far trying to film this clip. Pretty much I'm coming to you straight after work, and I tried to film like my intro leaving work. Didn't work out well. Employees in the background. So anyway, it's just been a journey. Currently I'm at IKEA because I'm going to grab some food before I go into the movie today. But I just had some issues because I was like, okay, I'll park and do my intro at IKEA. And did you guys know that there's like speakers all around IKEA blaring copyrighted music? Anyway, if you don't know who I am and you have no idea what I'm blabbing about, hi, I'm Emma, also known as Spookyastronauts, here on YouTube, and I do 2 videos every single week about horror and, you know, discovering movies, checking out indie flicks, checking out real horror. I have a lot of videos at the moment planned around paranormal experiences and just cool stuff that I've seen when I was in America recently. But I do videos like this, which are Come With Me style videos. I go to the movies, I kind of give you like the atmosphere, how it felt that day going to the movie, because I think it's really important to see like the mood the person was in going in, expectations, all that kind of stuff, because that plays into how you perceive the film. But in these videos I try and keep it quite spoiler free, so it's just giving you an idea of whether you should go out and watch the film that I'm going to talk about today, or just wait until it comes on VOD, DVD, whatever your streaming service is that you prefer. So today I'm actually going to go see an Australian movie that is a limited release. It is Two Heads Creek. This played at the Monster Fest that I was away for, which usually happens around October in Australia, and they have a lot of indie Australian films and other films that I don't get to see often, like Mandy and things like that. They played Two Heads Creek here in Perth when I was away, and I just saw it was popping up again for another week or two, so I thought I'd go catch it tonight at one of my favourite cinemas in Aloo. This one has a 7.7 on IMDb. It stars Kerry Armstrong, Catherine Wilder, and Gary Sweet. I thought it starred Carol Kane because look at this poster. Does that not look like her completely? Especially in like The Dead Don't Die. She was in that. I really like her, and I thought this film had her in it until I looked it up again today. I haven't seen the trailer or anything, hence thinking she was in it. And I do want to talk about trailers in an upcoming video, and you know, I think we need to all kind of air out our thoughts on that because so many people are having so many issues lately. But anyway, I have not seen the trailer. It is a comedy horror movie. It is about a British sister and brother who come to Australia to go track down their birth mother, or their mother. Why did I say birth mother? I think I read that in the blurb. Anyway, they go to this small town and there's some sinister secrets. But again, it's a comedy horror. It's meant to be quite lighthearted and quite silly. I'm not a huge comedy horror fan, except for if it's a New Zealand comedy horror. I love them. But I will definitely keep an open mind. I'm not expecting a lot. And I haven't really heard anything about this film from other people, reviewers, or anything like that. Even though it has a 7.7, it's only out of 25 reviews. So a lot of people haven't seen this film yet, which is good because I can let you guys know whether you should bother trying to track it down. The film was filmed in rural Queensland as well, for you Australians out there who are curious where it was filmed. I'm going to go into IKEA now before I go to the movie. I'm going to have a solo dinner date. Oh my god, who am I? I think this is really funny because in my last Come With Me video, I said to you guys, I go to the movies all the time, don't sweat it, don't worry about it, and I got so many comments back asking how I did it, or, you know, how I felt and how they wish they did it, or that you guys really love doing it yourself. One thing I also love doing is going to IKEA by myself because my boyfriend does not like IKEA, and I love IKEA. So this is like really the solo of all solo dates. Going to IKEA alone is pretty sad, but I think it really shows I have mad social anxiety. But I'll go to somewhere like IKEA or the movies completely fine alone. It's like I actually prefer to be alone a lot of the time going to these places. So I'm gonna go and have some vegetarian Swedish meatballs, but don't worry, I won't make this montage too strenuous, and let's go check out Two Heads Creek. Very interested to see what this one's about. meal only cost me $13, which is pretty fucking good. But I don't know what's more sad is like seeing a girl by herself eat a meal, including a pie, a slice of pie at IKEA, or seeing someone vlog while they do it. Hi guys, I did a little walk-in, old school. I just finished watching Two Heads Creek. Wow, actually was really impressed by that movie. It was a really well done production. I don't know how much money was put into it, what the budget was, but I thought it'd be very independent, and I think they did really well. You don't really see these kind of horror movies these days. It's either someone has at least a couple of actors that you know in it, or it's like completely independent. Especially with horror movies lately. I don't know what it is. I guess more if it's not a foreign horror movie. So, I mean, this is technically a foreign horror movie, I guess. Well, it's not a Hollywood horror movie. But yeah, I was really impressed by the production value for this film. From the very first moment where the titles came in, it has a really cool title sequence, like really great animation, and then even into like the first sequence with the footage and how it like comes together, the footage, the scene, the first scene, and how it kind of leads into the story. The story, as I said, is about a brother and sister who go to Australia. They are from England. They are with like Polish descent, and they go to Australia to find their family. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away too much, but when they get there, they go to this place which, you know, the clues have directed them to, and everything seems very off, and it's pretty funny watching it as an Australian because this film is definitely made for Australians. The humor it's not just like a dry like British sense of humor where like Australians and British sense of humor is kind of similar. It is completely Australian, completely ochre. Like, they say certain things in there that people wouldn't get. They talk about like 4X beer. There's certain things that you wouldn't actually understand unless you knew the culture here. And yeah, so it kind of does alienate the audience, and it is like really over the top cheesy. You know, horror comedies sometimes can be quite serious, but they just have a lot of laughs along the way. Like, I think like Ghostbusters and things like that. I guess it's a little bit campy, but this film, like, the characters are so to the extreme and so stereotypical, which is like the Australian characters, yeah, which really makes the movie not so intense because it's just like a joke. The whole thing's a joke, which is hard to get scared in, obviously, in these kind of movies, because it is a joke. There is a very huge theme in this movie. I mean, there's two overwhelming themes, family, and then the other one is racism. Really, it is racism. And this movie is definitely not PC. When I say racism, I mean they tackle the subject. You know, the whole thing was not PC, because if it's Australian humour, it's not PC. Like, that's just the way it is. The way we swear, the way we talk, it's just not PC. And that's not racism I'm talking about. That's a lot of things. But there was one line that I was like, wow, that I can't believe they put it in there. But they put it in a villain's mouth. Ultimately, if you look at the movie as a whole picture, it addresses it in a correct way. I don't know how to explain this without like giving away too much, but you know, just hold on, because there is like a bigger message in this film. And I like films that can get a strong message, especially the fact that I'm talking about this is like a kooky comedy. I like the fact that they can also tie a deeper message into this without you really realizing it until like the final scene. I think that's really clever. I mean, you realize it at the start, but I like how they come back to it and they put down what's important. I think that's a great aspect, especially in a place like Australia that has a really dark history, and I'm sure you've all seen The Nightingale this year, so this is definitely not like that, but, you know, it has some of the same messages, which is very interesting. I will say, though, the arc and the flow of the movie, because it is such a simple storyline, I felt like it really started off strong with the production value, setting up the characters. The characters are really great in this film and very strong and very individual. How they have maybe like 5 characters in here that have such a distinctive personality, and they get that through to the audience in a really clear and not like beating it into them kind of way. I thought was really good. I really like the setup, but it does get a little bit like in the kooky area in the middle of the movie. The message of the film or the arc kind of gets a little bit lost. It does like peek its head out at the end, but for an hour and a half, it felt like a little bit messy in the middle. And that's just me nitpicking, because I do think that it did a really good job of carrying you through. Just because it's a simple story, I felt like the aspect of family was a little bit lost, but that's completely nitpicking. Some of the characters were so weird and disgusting, and it was really it was enjoyable to watch. I forget his name, but he's like the son, not the main son, but there's the Australian son of the crazy family. His character was like spot on, and so many things that you've seen in horror movies, and it's just, he was perfect. I thought they did a really good job of weaving in some really funny and awkward Australian humour into this movie that's quite simple, but also has a great message to it. And the star is really involved in Brexit and stuff like that, and how that relates to Australia, which I think is really interesting, and like a conversation that I haven't seen done in any film. So to see it in this kind of film, I thought was very fitting and very clever. I actually enjoyed this much more than I thought I would. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I don't know how much I'd recommend it to you guys. If you like Australian sense of humour, which is kind of similar to British and New Zealand, but if you know someone who's from Australia, or if you're Australian, definitely see this. But it's more kind of like Boar. If you saw Boar this year, it's kind of like that. Very Australian, super Australian jokes, and it just might be a little bit weird and kooky to you if you have no idea like the brands and stuff they're talking about or what they're saying. It might be a little bit off. So if you have seen Two Heads Creek, I would love to know what you think down below. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys wouldn't have seen it by now, but if you're watching this after the fact, please let me know what you thought. I'd love to know someone who's from a different country's perspective and what they thought of this film. At least if you see the poster or you see it on a streaming device now, you'll know a little bit more about it and its background, because I imagine this would be very, very random to show up on like Shudder or something for you guys, and you would be very confused when you press play. So at least now you have a rundown. And thank you so much for watching, hanging out. If you found this at all helpful, maybe a little bit, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, now's the time to do so, guys. I know you've been watching my videos. I know you've been waiting. I know this is your 5th or 6th video. Just click subscribe. I love you guys so much, and I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.